Does the parking lot, can it no longer be slurry coated? Does it actually have to be ground and repaved and then striped? That is where we see them come unraveled, right? I think managing the day-to-day chaos is fine, but I think it's that capital expenditures, the budgets. Do I have enough money in my budgets? Or if you have a project that's a property that's just an absolute nightmare, right? I'm sure we've all owned that one car that we thought was the best car ever, but the thing always breaks down and you want to kill it, right?
All right, to get us started, let's go ahead and start with introductions, name and your company and your role within the company.
Sure, my name is Nathan Schweigert. I'm the owner and founder of NDL Group in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I do everything. I try to do everything.
Yeah, for sure. And how about you?
My name is Desiree Petronis, the Asset Management Program Director over at NDL Group.
We were talking about this 20 years now you've been out here.
I've been out here actually 30 plus years, but NDL has been in business 21 years.
Amazing. And you guys have seen a lot of growth and a lot of changes. So talk us through a little bit of where you started and where you're landing today.
Sure. So I actually started in the roofing industry of all places. I worked for Bryant Universal Roofers in the late 80s when I moved here. They became commercial roofers, and commercial roofers had a general contracting license. So towards the end of my roofing career, I got to play general contractor. And then when they decided they didn't want to do contracting anymore is when I decided to leave. And in 2003, I started NDL Group.
Fantastic. And NDL Group has some pretty great accomplishments and licenses that you've shared. Go ahead and talk us through some of those things.
We're one of very few AB unlimited contractors. Actually, all of our licenses are unlimited, but we hold an A and a B license. And you know what that just basically means is we could build anything, whether it's a nuclear plant, bridge, highway, airports, buildings, parks. We have zero, no limitations, which NDL stands for no development limitations.
I love it. It all ties together beautifully. What are you most excited about with NDL moving into 2026?
That the economy is actually coming back. We're starting to see things again come back in Las Vegas. Arizona is extremely busy, as well as Utah, and those are the three states that we work in. But definitely see a lot of things happening in Vegas. People starting to spend money again in development, so that's great. And then the launch of our asset management program is definitely probably one of the biggest highlights, I think, for us in 2026.
Fantastic. And Desiree, tell us a little bit about your background and, I guess, working with NDL Group and what you've been building.
Yeah, absolutely. So this asset management division is massive for the company and just overall the community in all three states. My background coming from, grew up in the northern states, almost Canada. And now, I joined the military, was in for 10 years. Asset management has always been something that, honestly, and I don't even know if Nathan knows, is a big part of everything that I've done. So in a different perspective, right? So the concept of asset management has always been my history. Family and construction, everything just kind of came together. So I have a lot of background in marketing as well. So when Nathan's vision for the asset management division came up, all those things came together. Managing the programs and how you're keeping accountability and managing the assets, and whether that's a small asset from tech or that's a large, property, that's something that I'm able to bring to this division and really grow this program overall.
Amazing. And asset management program and the division that you've got, let's talk a little bit, I hate this word, so cut it if we need to, but layman's terms, let's expand on what the asset management program actually covers so that people who maybe aren't as familiar with that terminology can really clue in and be like, aha, I need that.
No, I think that's a very good question. Look, asset management could be a number of things, right? So what we really are trying to do is focus with property managers, developers, people that actually buy and hold long-term buildings. That would really be our biggest, customer base, right? So what happens is property managers handle 5 or 6 shopping centers, or they can handle multiple apartment complexes, right? And I guess over the years we figured out that property managers have a lot of hats. I mean, if you think a contractor wears a lot of hats, I mean, property managers typically have to know legal, leasing, accounting, prorating, repairs. They're dealing with handymen, how to evict somebody. It's really insane, right? But they also, at the end of every year or fiscal year, whatever, they've got to go out and get budgets. Hey, how much to go ahead and repair this roof? Hey, how how much to go ahead and replace this roof. Hey, the caulking joints on this tilt up need to be done. What's a budget for that? And because they're so busy, it does seem like a lot of that is last minute. Some are very good at giving you time for it, but a lot of it's like, can you just pull the rabbit out of your hat, please? Right? And then you'll go, hey, who was on this roof last, or what was done, or what have you had done? They have no clue.
Yeah.
So the real big background to asset management program that we have for roof asset management, building envelope, and there's other modules we can pretty much, accommodate really anything with the software that we use, is holding everybody accountable. So if it was, say, for the roof, we would go up, we would do a roof inspection, right? We would go ahead and shoot all the photos. We would do a core cut. We would take a picture before the core cut. After the core cut, we would literally go and dissect everything, how many roofs you had, what the substrate is. And basically, we go back and Desiree's team would then go ahead and enter everything. How old the building is, how many roofs there were, what type of roof it is, what's life expectancy, how much life do you have left in this roof, what kind of repairs need to be done now. And a lot of roofers offer that. They'll go ahead and say, hey, we'll give you a free roof inspection. Where we've taken it one step further is the accountability with photo documentation, documenting all the repairs and the services performed. But then here is the catch. The data collection part, which we'll let her go into, but we basically take all of that information and it goes into the cloud to where you, the property manager, the building owner, the asset manager, the real estate broker, you literally can go ahead and access that information. You can see when the last inspection was, what the last repairs were, who was there. And I just think that is the part that everybody in our industries are missing. A roof is out of sight, out of mind, right? So you're not going to go up and see what they did. Some property managers do, though. It would surprise you.
Yeah.
There are some property managers that kick the heels off or put their tennis shoes on and they're right up the ladder, which is great. I always welcome that. But for the most part, no. People don't think about a roof until it's raining or they have a leak or they're in trouble, right? So the other thing too is it's not just work that we perform. We're literally trying to hold all of those trades, whether it be HVAC, it be stucco, it be a sheet metal guy, it be a plumber, a tenant, a big one, right? So we're trying to hold them accountable. But because nobody goes on those roofs, nobody knows what's happening, right? So let's say you're property manager and the lease says that, they've got to notify you because you have a roof warranty before you can do any penetrations. But John doesn't care. He rent the space from you. Now John gets his guys. He's added 2 air conditioners, 5 pipes, right, and a hood, and it's not properly flashed. So now your warranty is kind of in violation, right? And you don't know who did the workmanship, and you don't even know if it's done right. So the other thing is you're not going to know until there's a problem. Is it a year, 2 years, 3 years? At the end of his lease, you don't know. Now with all the regular inspections and all of that information, right, being the photos, the documentation, and going into, you don't even have to leave your desk. You could truly just go ahead and go into the website, into the program, and basically take a look at photos, reports, last report. It's pretty nice.
That sounds fantastic. So as a property manager, you're essentially giving them the visibility into their projects so that they can see this is exactly what's being done. And I know that this is a work and this is who last did it. So if I need to call them, I can.
I'll let her explain why I feel that we are a value add, right? We are truly a value add at a very economical plug-in price to assist with those things.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you're spot on. That's a big part of it. So visibility and accountability, like you said. The visibility end of it, yes, they can go in and they can see all that history. They can see what's happened, who's been a part of it, from the entire journey of that entire property. So if, let's say when the building was first built, if you want to talk about ground ups, that's one way to start, right? So you have a ground up, brand new building. We're getting all that history, the as-built, everything from the very beginning, and we're able to see it all the way through the journey of that property. The visibility is key, right, for a property manager. And then for that owner, whoever ends up working on that building or whoever ends up managing that building at any point in time is now they're going to have all that history. So that is a huge part of it. From there, you also have buildings that have been around for years, right? So there's history there that's just not been accounted for. There's a lot of history there that's not been documented. So what we're doing, like you said, the data collection, that's the huge part of it. That's really the biggest lift of it at the very beginning. So the data collection, when we first enroll a building or we enroll a facility of any kind, or the property owner, if they want to enroll 5 buildings, we're doing all that at the beginning. We're going to do the data collection where we're going to go in, get any plans that they do have at any point in time too. So let's say they have plans from years ago, they don't have anything current, we're going to start working on that.
Okay.
So we're facilitating all of that. We're going to go ahead, gather any information we can, any work history, all of that, do that lift for the property manager, for the building owner. That way they get a little bit of relief. They can now see all that information, and then it's all visible within that system.
That's fantastic. And are they getting insights into, I know we were talking a little bit about warranty. So are they getting insights into this warranty requires you to do an inspection after 6 months? Are they getting a notification like, hey, your 6-month checkup is coming in, go get the inspection done so that the warranty will stay good?
That's a great question. I'm so glad you asked that. Absolutely. Yeah. Good. So a huge part of it as well is the warranty side. So we're tracking all those warranties. We're looking at the fine print. So what is it within the requirements of that warranty that we're going to need to do moving forward? Do we need to inspect once a year, twice a year, 3 times a year? Like, what's it look like? We want to make sure that they don't void their warranty accidentally. And then all of a sudden, they could have a big problem that they didn't realize that warranty is now voided. So now they're paying even more. So we want to help reduce that, and we want to keep those headaches away.
And how many times have you guys seen the situation? I mean, 20 years in business where customers are now facing this issue and their warranty has been expired. And then what does the cost look like in order for them to now go out and fix those things because they weren't able to do the inspections along the way?
Look, I've been here in Vegas 32 years in roofing, 21 in general contracting, right? So, working in the roofing industry, and I worked for one of the largest commercial roofing contractors, in the state of Nevada. So I've seen it all too often, right? The problem is you are going to pay retail price for a roofer to come in and fix it back to get the manufacturer to reinstate the warranty. He doesn't have to give you a break. You're not going to get a break. It would be the same thing as like you don't take care of your roof now, right? So when it rains, instead of a repair that could be $350, $425, you're now paying $2,500, $3,200. But they've got you over a barrel, right? Then most people don't realize is a lot of repairs are temporary in nature if it is inclement weather or raining. You really also need to follow up and make sure you come back out and get that permanent repair, which I would tell you, I think 90% of all roofers, they're not going to do it because they don't have a dedicated repair team. They don't have a dedicated inspection team. So they're literally, when it's raining, they're trying to find work for their roofers. So their key guys typically will stay behind. They hang out at the shop and they wait. And as the calls come in, they go try to facilitate those calls. But then once the rain's gone, they all go back on the roof and start doing production again, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the nature of the beast, right? But there's nobody there making sure they're going back to make said permanent repair. So realistically, it would not be uncommon to see in another 8 months or 16 months, that same leak reappears.
Gotcha. And then we talked a bit about the accountability piece. Let's expand there because I think you mentioned that accountability is lacking sometimes in this industry. So how does the asset management program really build that accountability piece into it?
I think from a roofer standpoint, right? Because that's really a big thing in accountability for me. So roofers, we get up on a roof. We don't like that the mechanical guys leave the broken parts behind, right? Condensers, fans, or even in today's world, right? You get vandalized. People are stealing the copper, so they're just dismantling the unit. Then the wind blows and you don't think about it. That piece of sheet metal's cartwheeling across the roof, just cutting it all up, right? So the accountability piece is in 2 parts. One, it's making sure that whichever maintenance techs they have. So a lot of property managers or building owners will typically use, let's call RJ's Mechanical. It's just made up name, but they're going to hold his feet to the fire because when we come and do those inspections and we give pictures that a fan was left on the roof, the door wasn't put back on the unit, the condenser was left behind because those things weigh like 100 pounds. Nobody wants to carry them down the ladder. That's why they leave them on the roofs, always for the roofer to take care of, right? So it's holding those other tradesmen accountable, whether it's the sign guy replacing the ballast on the back of the parapet wall, they leave the ballast. They don't clean up after themselves. Mechanical guys don't clean up after themselves. Every single restaurant has to have a hood and a fan. So you've got all this grease that is blowing up on the roof, which those animal fats, I know that sounds horrible, but it is eating away at those roof membranes if it's not properly cleaned up. That's really not shouldn't be on the building owner. It shouldn't be on the property manager, right? So ensuring that those restaurants are doing their monthly maintenance programs, making sure that they're adhering to it, making sure that nobody's making illegal penetrations or penetrations without notifying the owner and following their lease criteria. So that's really the accountability, right? And then the other part of accountability would be the other roofers. You don't even have to use us in the roofing. You can literally go ahead and hire NDL for their asset management, and you can use any roofer you want. You can. It does not matter to us. But what's going to happen is we're going to hold that roofer accountable. He'll make said repairs. He's got to do before and after photos. He's got to send us a copy of his invoice, and then our data entry or the ladies in our office, they'll literally go ahead and input all of that information there again, so it's at the fingertips of ownership or the property managers. So if they don't make the repair right, we're going to say we didn't make the repair right. We thought there would be pushback on that, so we even took it a step further. Our inspectors are registered RROs. So when you hire a roof consultant, they're either a registered roof consultant, RRC, and most of their inspectors are licensed RROs, registered roof observers. So we went ahead and ensured that the guys inspecting these roofs have that classification, or if at the minimum, the person that is signing the report is reviewing all the information and the person signing that inspection report is a registered roof observer. So it would be the same accountability from a roof consultant, although we're not a roof consultant. We just made sure that we went out and had the same credentials to where your roofer, XYZ roofer, couldn't say NDL doesn't know what they're talking about. They have no idea what they're talking about. We actually have the certifications in place to back it up.
Got it. And then as far as the data collection goes, if I'm a property manager or owner and I'm hearing all of this data that you guys are compiling, are you solely handling that? It sounds like you are, but just I feel like if people hear that, they might be like, oh my gosh, it's so much data. Am I going to have to go dig for all these things? Am I going to be the one that's putting these things, uploading these before and after photos? What does that look like? So are you guys fully handling all of the data aggregation and then storing everything?
Yeah, that's the beauty behind the system and the program itself. This is why it's not just a software. This is why it's a program. So we're guiding them through all of that. So in our onboarding, in our enrollment process, our team is actually collecting all that data. So we're reaching out, we're getting anything that we need to do. If we need to facilitate and we need to actually reach out and coordinate with any vendors, we'll do that. Whatever they do have, we start with what they know and what they have, right? So if a property manager or an owner doesn't have something, we're going to work around it and we're going to find the right, get the answers for it. We don't want to add more to their plate. I think that's a big misconception with this is a lot of people think, oh, wow, how is that going to work? It's our team. And we're able to really, that's the power behind it. We're a separate division. We're dedicated to this 100%. So our team members are sitting there. This is their job. It's not an additional hat. We're helping them. Like we're really guiding them in that way. And we're able to not just tell them what they need to give us, but we're able to get that for them.
Yeah, and I'll add by saying, so let's say a property manager or a building owner bought a building, right? Let's say they bought a building off the courtroom steps. They get nothing. We have the ability to go ahead and find any archive drawings that we could get from the building departments. If they don't have a roof plan and the roof plan doesn't match what there currently is, we actually have AutoCAD people and people that can draw a roof plan. So we will draw a roof plan to scale, which will now create a baseline, right? So they could have nothing, and we'll create the baseline for them. Like she said, we have multiple divisions with NDL. We have a ground-up division that does entitlements and everything else. We have a tenant improvement division. We have a self-performing division, which does include the roofing and everything, roofing, concrete, framing. And then we have the asset management. But I think the important part that she said to touch on is it is a dedicated department. Exactly. We're not robbing from our roofers. If there was a big rain or something we needed to, sure. But literally day to day, the guys that are out inspecting the roof, the guys that are out doing those repairs that we find during the inspections, that is a standalone division. We have 20 plus people in just our roofing division that we could use them, but we don't. We literally set out to make this standalone so it would not be handicapped. The other thing to consider is the information that we're collecting, we spoke to a bunch of broker friends, which was kind of, I think, a pretty interesting conversation that Desiree and I had with a broker. The broker was like, this system is so great because I'm going to tell you what, people that only hold a building for 2 or 3 years to go ahead and get past the short-term capital gains, and then they'll go ahead and sell a building. The brokers were like, oh my gosh, if we had this information to where we could transfer to a new owner, it's huge. So while the program is actually super affordable, it has very long-reaching benefits to it, right? Someday you go to sell the building, all of a sudden your roof plan, all the work that's been done, with the building envelope. Now, we're not tracking TIs and build-outs and stuff like that, but anything to the exterior, anything to the roof, we are tracking, right? So we know how old the units are, how old this. So that's really, I think, important is this system doesn't just stop at stopping vandalism, stopping graffiti, stopping whatever. It just has a lot of benefits to it.
Talk us through how this program fits into the piece of the puzzle in, say, building ownership or management. You mentioned a lot of times building owners will be like, well, I have this person and I have this person, I have this person. So fill in some of those gaps. Who are the people that they have? And then how does this program actually kind of complete that puzzle for them so that they have everything that they need?
So I'll take the first part of that, and then I'll let Desiree finish.
Perfect.
Yes. So I've heard it for 30-something years, right? You get property managers or you get a building owner who's like, we explain this program, and they're like, oh, I got a property manager, I don't need that program. Well, you do, right? Now, whether it's female or male, I don't really care, but you get property managers, they know enough, right? Some of them are well informed, but most of them have so many hats, they're just trying to survive, right? So we are a value add, right? You hire a property manager to hold subs accountable. You hire a property manager to hold your tenants responsible. You hire a property manager to protect your asset. But really, with all the hats they have, they can only do really what they can do. And I've had to learn that, right? That's why I tell you in the very beginning, they're lawyers, they're handymen, they're everything, right? So what happens is they don't have time to get on the roofs. They don't always have time to be walking the building to look at caulk joints, window seals, door openings, right? They're looking at like, hey, so-and-so went ahead and ruined the landscaping. They're picking up the obvious that they can, but they don't have the time or the bandwidth to really track roof repairs, roof replacement. How come the other subs didn't pick up after themselves? Why is that happening on our roof, right? Or why are the caulk joints bad? I thought we replaced those. They don't know when, right? So this is really a value add to that, right? And that's the biggest thing. And then I hear, oh, well, we have an on-site maintenance guy. Okay. Well, an on-site maintenance guy, again, he may do HVAC or he may be really good at electrical and does a little bit of HVAC. Not too many times you're going to find those, whether it's apartments or whether it's retail or even in a big commercial complex, those maintenance guys aren't doing proper roof repairs and they don't really know what they're looking at. Can you mark off, can you go inside a living room or an office complex and go 10 foot and 10 foot, that's where the leak is? Then you go up on the roof and you go 10 foot and 10 foot and you're like, okay, the leak should be somewhere around here. That's not always the case. That leak could be coming from 20, 30 feet away where it hits a beam or it hits, a steel stud or a column and it runs down and then it finds the lowest part before it leaks, right? So there is a little bit more to repairing a roof than I think the average person thinks. So we're a value add. We're really an add-on to what they do. We're really just trying to back them up and assist them.
Yeah, we're adding standardization. So a lot of teams they may not have the ability to keep a standard inspection in mind, right? A lot of times because they're wearing so many hats and they're doing so many things, they'll go out there, check a few things like he said, and the first things that come to mind, that's what they check. But when when you have consistent inspections that go on and they're coming, every quarter, or twice a year, or every month, even however often they want to do them. And we have recommendations, of course, around that. But when they're able to create that standardization within their team that, hey, NDL's coming out, we're going to do an inspection. we know what that building needs. So we know that we're going to be doing A, B, C, D, and E, and we're going to make sure that we keep an eye on that time after time after time, so that in the future we know, and we can, in the software, we can actually predict what's happening and what's bound to happen over the next year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, even up to 20 years down the road. We have the reports to back that up, and we're able to see that through all the consistency that we're providing in that standard inspection.
And just for clarity's sake, we're not just talking about you guys keeping track of roofing, right? So it covers all different aspects of the building. Can you talk through what else that program is taking into account?
Yeah, so we're looking at building envelope as well. That's a big part of it. The roof is of course, because of the background that we have, starting there. The building envelope, growing into that. It also does keep track of paving and such as well. So we're looking at like parking garages, any kind of underground work. It goes all throughout the entire site. Even to the point of landscaping. Landscaping can affect the roof. It can affect the exterior of the, the side, the walls, everything that's going on. And from a technical standpoint, yeah, that's what we do cover. We can cover. And when it comes to warranties, like you have warranty tracking, you have equipment tracking, defect tracking, like there's a lot of things that go into it beyond just what you can see. The visual inspection is a big part of it, but when it comes to being able to put all that information together into the system, we're able to keep documentation all in one. We're able to have all those plans, have all the any photos and all the defects, what's the status of the defects. We're able to show all of that. So you're not just guessing anymore. You're able to actually see what's been going on and what's happening.
Amazing. And as far as the reach that you guys have, you mentioned that you are in Arizona, Nevada, and Utah. So what does it look like if people are hearing this and let's say they're in Georgia or South Carolina and they want to take advantage of this program? What does that look like for them?
So actually, we have a reach. I mean, we have a global reach, and we could be anywhere really, right? So we have customers that are everywhere else. So what would happen is we have what they call in-network and out-of-network. Our in-network is the 3 states that you mentioned. Out-of-network, NDL literally goes ahead and we go find roofers that meet our criteria. We recommend those other roofers to the client. We go ahead and do the inspection, the initial report, all that gathering and everything, and then they would do the inspections. They would provide any repair proposals, any re-roof proposals. We review them. We recommend. We go ahead and see through that process, the repair process, the re-roof process, right? And then we get all of that information back and we collect it for the owners. So we can literally be in any state, anywhere. We don't just hire Bob's Roofing out of the back of a pickup. We go ahead and we look into how long they've been in business, what their limits are, have they had complaints, what their rating is, insurance requirements. We make sure that they have all of those criteria. They actually sign a contract with NDL to be an out-of-network provider, right? But the big important thing is there's been another couple of companies that I've known over the last 30 years that have tried to do this. And where they got into trouble was they would collect the money would run through them, and then it was a whole thing. We don't do that, right? We solely are here to assist and basically guide the owners, property managers, asset managers through the process. So if you had that building in Georgia and it comes up for a re-roof, they pay us a very small fee out of the price of that re-roof to just put that information into the system. Daily logs, daily photos, the pay applications, the warranty, the releases to make sure that there's no lien releases when the project is complete. All of that information is put in by Desiree's team to where the property manager would be able, or the owner would be able to go and click and see all of that performance throughout the repair, the re-roof, and whatever's been done to that roof.
Got it. So let's say I'm the property manager and I am pulling my hair out and I've got a headache and I'm dealing with all of these things. So I'm super stressful. What are the things that I am trying to navigate that would then make me think I need this asset management program? So like, what are some of the headaches or some of the pain points that I have as a property manager that would make me go, I need NDL Group and I need their asset management program?
Well, look, I think the biggest thing that comes to mind for me, right, is budgeting. They seem to be, with all their day-to-day stuff, I think they handle the chaos like all of us business owners or whatever handle chaos, right? But I think it's been my experience, they just get hammered and overwhelmed is budgets, right? When that owner wants budgeting, they've got to go ahead and do the year-end budgets, capital expenditures. What are we asking ownership for? Because not that I'm a property manager, but I've been told like a property manager will typically get a yearly budget. Like, okay, you get $3,500 for roofing. You're going to get $4,000 for landscape. Above and beyond maintenance, you're going to get $5,000 for parking, above and beyond regular maintenance, right? So that part of your life is okay, right? But at the end of the year, are those enough dollar amounts? Is the roof due? Does the parking lot, can it no longer be slurry coated? Does it actually have to be ground and repaved and then striped? That is where we see them come unraveled, right? I think managing the day-to-day chaos is fine, but I think it's that capital expenditures, the budgets. Do I have enough money in my budgets? Or if you have a project that's a property that's just an absolute nightmare, right? I'm sure we've all owned that one car that we thought was the best car ever, but the thing always breaks down and you want to kill it, right? So the same thing with the building. You may have a tilt-up building warehouse that's a triple net lease. You never go there. It's easy. You may have a retail shopping center that you want to pull your hair out. So that's really where they should get a hold of NDL. But the one thing that I would like to touch base on, and that where it's kind of in a soft launch and beta, but we have developed a way with using actually another program that we use all the time in construction, but we have found a way to also help retail, specifically shopping center owners, on controlling vandalism, graffiti, and who's on their roofs.
Wow.
So nowadays, we have AI cameras. And the AI cameras, you can set them for times from 7 at night till 7 in the morning. You can go ahead and it'll send out a text alert because they're not supposed to be on that roof, right? So now if somebody's going up to graffiti, they're getting a text alert and an email. You can also set it up to where in those hours, it's an immediate text like an alert. You can go ahead and say from 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning till 7 at night, right? Any movement gets a text. You can also set it up to where you, the property manager, will get the text during normal business hours. And then after hours, a monitoring company, security guard that may be on site, whomever gets those text messages. And it's very inexpensive. They have a 180 camera. They have a 360 camera. And everybody's like, they're solar powered with cellular connectivity, right? And, you would laugh. It's not probably 100% perfect, but it's a whole lot better than what you would ever think. My wife and I happen to own boat and RV storage facilities, and we had problems for years. So we've now been playing for the last 2 years with AI cameras. And I believe we have a very good AI camera that kind of works with the program that we've got. And it's really not that expensive. I mean, I'm not saying you have them on all 4 corners of a building, but typically we set one up at a roof access, right? We were at an HOA meeting the other night, and they were having big problems in these apartments with people stealing pool equipment. So they asked, could one be set up for the pool equipment? Absolutely, it can, right? So we're trying to solve a lot of the problems and help them out. And I just think that we've been working on this for years. We just rolled it out actually this month in January. And I would say that it's been a very, very slow rollout. I wouldn't say that it's 100% perfect, but I would say that we have pretty much most of our bases covered, and we're past beta. It's actually up, running, working, and we'd love to go ahead and give anybody that wants a demo. I mean, we've done a pretty good job at that.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations on the rollout. That is super exciting. I think one thing that stood out to me while you guys have been speaking is another place where I think this will probably be a game changer for property managers. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but is in making decisions against what they need to spend their budget on, whether if the warranty's coming up, they need an inspection, whatever it might be. But your program, it sounds like, is going to actually help them make more informed decisions so that they are getting the most out of the budget that they're given at the top of the year. Yes? No? It sounds like it.
No, it does. And I'd like to actually have Desiree touch base on this. So the program works with multiple programs, right? So the program is capable of JPEG, DWG, PDF. I mean, literally the amount of subscriptions that we have to make this program work is crazy. The one thing that Desiree, I think, likes is the Google thumb tag. So what you had said, what are they spending? What are they not spending? Go into the thumb tag thing, like, Go ahead. Sorry.
So the informed decisions is a huge one. That's actually one of my favorites because they're getting tags on everything that's going on. So when our inspectors go out there and we're on the roof or we're on the side of the building, we're tagging geolocations for where these defects are. We're tagging exactly what's going on. So it's got a prediction. It's got like a prediction feature in there. So we're able to actually go in and see, okay, if this is happening over on this side of the roof or on this side of the building, it could affect other areas. It could affect other things. So we're able to make more informed decisions instead of just what you can see, right? So if a property manager walks out there and they see, okay, there's an issue over here, they're going to fix it. It's going to be a temporary solution most likely. Whereas we might be able to actually decide and realize that, hey, this is a pattern, this is a trend. So there's more in that decision factor. There's more coming up for it. There's a building up in North Las Vegas and large signs on it. It said like unstable building. Well, that's huge, right? So you don't want to walk around your building and see that you have signs put up that it's an unstable building. Yeah. Imagine if they had this program years ago. You would have seen all those warning signs would have been visible. Those warning signs would have told you and helped you make those informed decisions. And you would have been able to know that, hey, we have 20 facilities within Las Vegas and these ones have red flags, right? You have it all tagged. You have it all of it's getting notified in the system. You're getting those push notifications. So you're able to see everything that's happening. And then you're not just guessing.
The other thing that's nice too is we talked about their budgets, right? You have $3,500 to spend. Other than that, you have to go get ownership permission, right? The really nice thing about it with the way we all work so crazy in today's world, right? I'll never forget the first time the company gave me like a cell phone, right? I thought I was so cool. And then I realized they're getting more work out of me. Then you get like the iPad and the laptop and you're like, oh my gosh, now I'm working all the time, right? Yeah. So I think too, people's attention spans, they have less time for garbage, right? The really thing I also like about the thumb tags is, let's say you don't have enough money in your budget. So let's say you had 15 pens on your building, right? Let's say that 10 were on the roof and 5 were with the building. You now, as a property manager, have to determine what are you fixing now and what are you not fixing. And then instead of having to dig through reports, which this thing creates analytical reports, it creates meta tagging. It's pretty intuitive. But the nice thing about it is you can literally go to the Google map over your building and see all those thumb tags. Yeah. Cool. And when you go over the thumb tag, it shows you the pictures, the proposal, whether it was completed, whether it wasn't completed. So I think that the thumb tag makes it so easy. If you had multiple buildings and you're busy, for a building owner, property owner, asset manager to literally just go over the thumb tags and get a quick review, then they can dial into the proposal, pull up the proposal, pull up the photos. But it's all right there at a quick glance with the thumb tagging, which I thought was a really neat.
And that report as well. So when they're getting a report, so every inspection is followed up with a report, a very comprehensive report. And that has historical data, has the current data, has everything that's outstanding, anything that's been fixed. On that report, you're also getting from that RRO, you're getting an actual recommendation. And it's an unbiased recommendation because we want you to be able to take this report and say the same exact thing to multiple vendors, multiple subs. So that you're getting the right, you're getting quotes back, or you're getting all those, you're making those decisions, you're getting everything back, and it's always going to be the same request, right? You could easily go out and say one thing to one sub and then one thing to another, and then you're getting completely different quotes. And that's where I think a lot of people, they might get taken advantage of. That's where I honestly saw it a lot, and I've seen it in like just in management outside of the asset management side. But when you're looking at having one standard, these are the recommendations, this is what I want fixed. And beyond that, there's nothing to get straight in any way. Like, it's going to be exactly what you're asking for. And that's based on consistent data that's been collected, documented over time.
Yeah, that's huge. So you've got one program that gives visibility, aggregates data, lets them make informed decisions, and gives them complete ownership essentially over what they are doing and requesting, I guess, on a regular basis, which is huge.
Yeah, that's spot on.
Sure. And, look, the accountability side, look, I would love to have everybody's work, right? I mean, I'm in the business of doing work, but truthfully, I'm more interested in that accountability aspect. So when she says that, you use our program, we give you a full report, but again, you like XYZ roofer. You've used them for 20 years. That's all fine. We have zero problem with that. We just want to make sure that we're collecting your data. We want to make sure he's doing the work he's supposed to be doing, for you, because that is, at the end of the day, I think they forget, that is your job. That is your responsibility to the person that you're managing that property for, right? So you can be friends with whoever you want. Let's just make sure that you're getting what you paid for and you hold them accountable. And whether you use an NDL or not, that's fine. It doesn't matter. This program is for all. I will touch on one last thing. So we met with a large property management company in Arizona. Huge. I mean, I forgot what she said, like 700 properties. I mean, it was big. Yeah. And one of her things that she said was like, oh my gosh, I would love this program so much. But in my contract with a lot of these properties, I have to have 3 prices. So I don't know that I can really go ahead and use you guys. And I'm like, but this isn't really a vendor. It's kind of confusing. It's not really, it's kind of like a subscription, right? A data collecting subscription. But we went back to the attorney and we went ahead and then asked a real estate attorney. And they came back and said, absolutely, yeah, this is not a vendor, right? This is actually a program. So they can go ahead and, just like hiring a roof consultant, they wouldn't have to go get 3, just like, so they could literally go ahead and use this program. And then of course, if they've got to go get 3 prices, they get 3 prices. But back to what Desiree was saying, you're now getting a report. We're now kicking out what's got to be repaired, or we even put together a roof replacement generic spec. At least we're now giving you something to send out to those 3 vendors. If your contract says that you must get 3 prices, we're doing that for you. So again, we're a value add. So I think it's pretty big.
Yeah, very cool. So we've talked a lot about how this benefits the property manager, and obviously with it benefiting the property manager, it benefits the property owner. But can we touch a little bit more on why a property owner is listening to this and they're like, I need this for my team?
Well, again, look, I think it's no secret that people that invest in real estate and have large holdings, right? Very rarely do you lose money in real estate, right? I think that the people that track the maintenance, they track their buildings, you're a guy that's really reinvesting and they want to repaint every, call it 10 years and all of that stuff, right? This is huge for them because it's tracking that for them. They're not having to worry about it. And look, I mean, you see roofers come and go. You see property managers come and go. Brokers leave one firm to go to another firm. Property manager leave one firm to go to another firm. So again, I think it's very hard to go ahead and tell me that you have your data collection, that it's in a file or it's in that computer. They don't know where to look for it. I mean, I'm being honest. Again, I think the fact that this program is very, very complex, but also very easy to use. But the word that Desiree keeps using is it's standardized, right? We keep doing everything standardized. So whether you as a building owner, you may have a pet peeve that landscaping is your thing, right? I'll never forget because Mr. Herbst, the Terrible Herbst family here in Vegas, they're really kind of the ones that helped me put me in business. And Jerry Herbst, his gas stations back then had the most amazing landscaping. And I would go into his office and he would pick the palm trees. There would be palm trees from the nurseries and he would pick the palm trees. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And it's a true story. He really did.
That's so cool.
So again, you have people that like landscaping. You may have building owners that are really big on parking lot and they want the concrete parking block stops, right? So it's whatever they want. But how does a property manager, when they're changing firm to firm or you're having different people manage your asset, you don't know. So I think for a building owner, I think for investment groups, big investment groups, a lot of those investment groups hold for 5 years, they sell for the next 2 years, and the way they do those things. And again, when you're buying, selling, trading, whatever you're doing, knowing what's been done to those properties, that data collection, all of that information, it's imperative
and invaluable, I would say.
It is. And you talk to brokers and appraisers when they're in the middle of their due diligence buying a building, everybody's scrambling to find this information.
Yeah, this is saving so much time.
Yeah.
So even from the business owner standpoint, you're saving so much time. You're getting the answers you need quick, which is, I think, a huge part. When you ask a property manager, an asset manager, or anyone on the team, any admin, anyone who has that information or is supposed to have that information at the ready, and then you ask them for something and it takes a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get the information that you need, it just takes too much time. So to be able to get those answers quick and have it all centralized,
Yeah.
It's key.
And I think for me, I think as we're getting to the end, but I do think for me, I would really like to close on two things that are asked in most of the meetings that we go to. Is this program expensive?
Yeah.
It's actually more affordable than anybody would think. I could tell you this, if you had a $600 roof repair that could be done with regular times, and now it's raining and somebody hits you for $3,500, $3,600 on a decent sized building, you probably already paid for our program.
Wow.
Or the first year or the data collection, right?
Yeah.
It's not expensive. It's literally pennies. It's under 20 cents a square foot. I mean, it's pennies. The bigger the building, the more that price comes down. The smaller the building, it goes up. But it is extremely affordable. The other question that we're asked is, what happens if we don't use the program anymore? How does that information, where does it go? Very simple. We actually would go ahead and in the agreement, if you go ahead and after 3 years say you don't want to use the program anymore, we basically would go ahead and ask you how you want it. We will give it to you in a JPEG. We can give it to you however you want, and the information is yours. While the information is, in the program, in the system, absolutely. But it is at the end of the day, it's your information. So if NDL is not performing or living up to what they said, or you sold the building and the new building owner does not wish to continue with it, all of that is not lost. Unfortunately, you're going to get it in a memory stick or you're going to get it in some form, but you will have all of that information. It just won't be expanded on anymore. It'll just stop at where you told us to go ahead and give it to you.
We
That's
want to, we want to create the consistency. So a lot of having that data move with the building, that's our goal. We want to be able to go, 3 owners down the road and they still have the history from what happened 3 owners ago. We want them to have all that information just to make the better decisions. I mean, NDL was built on relationships. That's where, you'll see it everywhere. If you look at all of our stuff, it was built on relationships since 2003. That's what we want to create is we want to really, this program is meant to create history. It's to create that journey for the building and wherever it might go, whoever it might be owned or whatever might happen. We want to have that history there for them.
That's huge. So where can everybody find you guys and get information about this program? Let's say they're ready for a demo, they're excited about it. How do they go about doing that?
Yeah, the best thing to do, honestly, would be to go to our website. You can see all the information on there. If you want to jump right to it and get some information and actually set up a meeting, they can set up a meeting by just emailing us. We'll go ahead and have that in the description as well for the podcast or for YouTube, wherever you're seeing this right now. But the best thing would be to reach out to us. We just want to have a conversation, see what your situation is. And then from there, we'll see if it's the right fit for you and how we can make it work for you.
Our website also at the bottom, I think, of the main page has all of our social media. So our social media is linked to our website. So every time you go to the website, go down the first page, all the photos and everything that's being posted with our ground up TIs, asset management, roofing. It's there every day as we post.